They say your wedding day is supposed to be the happiest day of your life. For Karina Bennett, it turned into the most humiliating. The morning started like a dream. Karina sat in the bridal suite of St. Mary's Chapel, sunlight streaming through stained glass, her white dress flowing around her like something out of a movie. Her makeup was flawless. Her curls pinned up with delicate pearls. Everyone said she looked like a queen. And she felt like one, until she didn't. Something was off. It started with the silence. Her bridesmaids, 2 of them now, since her maid of honor had stepped out for air, kept checking their phones. Her mom was pacing the floor, whispering with the wedding coordinator in urgent tones. And her dad hadn't stopped sighing for the last 20 minutes. Karina clutched her bouquet tighter. "What's going on?" No one answered. Until there was a soft knock at the dressing room door. Not loud, but the kind of knock that comes with bad news. Her cousin opened the door slowly, face pale. In her hand, her phone, screen glowing. "Karina, I think you need to see this." She handed it over without a word. Karina's hands trembled as she took the phone. The video had already started playing. The footage was shaky, clearly filmed by a guest. But it was clear enough. There he was, Jared. Her fiancé. The man she'd loved for 10 years. Walking out the back exit of the chapel, in his tuxedo. Not alone. Tasha. Her best friend. Her maid of honor. The woman she trusted with everything, her secrets, her tears, her future. They were holding hands. Laughing. Then, they kissed. Seconds later, they jumped into a black SUV and sped off, tires screeching down the street like criminals. Silence. Karina didn't blink. Didn't breathe. Her chest tightened. Not like heartbreak. Like drowning. The room spun, and her bouquet dropped to the floor with a soft thud. Her mother tried to steady her. "Baby, listen." But Karina pulled away. She looked around the room. Everyone was avoiding her eyes. The whispers outside the dressing room door grew louder. Guests were finding out. She got left at the altar. "Did you see the video? 10 years, and he ran off with the maid of honor." She must have known something was wrong. Karina stood in front of the mirror, her veil hanging crooked, eyes rimmed with shock. The world she built was collapsing, and people were watching it happen like a movie. But she didn't cry. She wouldn't. If Jared thought he was gonna leave her broken and humiliated, he didn't know her at all. Then came the voice she really didn't want to hear. A slow clap echoed from the corner of the room. Sarcastic. Mocking. "Damn," came a smooth voice. "I showed up for a wedding, not a reality show." Logan Wade. Tall. Handsome. Arrogant. And absolutely the last man Karina ever wanted to see on her wedding day. Her ex from years ago. Her nemesis in business. The man who once told her she was too intense to be lovable. She turned slowly. "What are you doing here, Logan?" He shrugged. "It's a wedding. Free food. Good gossip. And now, front row seats to the most scandalous walkout of the year." Karina's jaw clenched. "Don't play with me today." Logan stepped closer. "I'm not. In fact, I'm impressed. Jared and Tasha. That's a plot twist I didn't see coming." She hated that smirk. That stupid, smug grin on his face. Like he enjoyed watching her fall apart. But then, something inside Karina snapped. If everyone was already watching, if her name was already in their mouths, then she wasn't going to be the girl who got dumped. She'd be the woman who took control. She looked Logan in the eye and asked, calmly, "You still single?" He blinked, surprised. "Why?" Karina took a breath. Her voice was steady. Marry me. Dead silence. Even the birds outside seemed to pause. Logan raised a brow. Are you serious? As a heart attack. Her mother gasped. Karina, no, don't make a mistake out of pain. But Karina ignored her. If I'm going to be humiliated today, I might as well do it in style. Let's finish the wedding. Right here. Right now. But with you. Logan stared at her, something dark flickering in his eyes. He tilted his head. You hate me. I hate pity more. The corner of his mouth twitched. And then, to everyone's shock, he held out his hand. Lead the way, Mrs. Wade. The chapel fell silent as Karina walked back down the aisle, not with Jared, but with Logan Wade on her arm. The guests were stunned. Phones were out. Cameras rolling. No one could believe what they were seeing. The groom changed. She's marrying Logan Wade. He's a billionaire, he doesn't even believe in marriage. What is going on? Karina kept her chin high. Her eyes forward. Her heart still breaking. But her pride unshakable. The same priest stood at the altar, frozen in disbelief. Karina, are you sure? She looked him straight in the eye. Say the vows. 15 minutes later, she was legally Mrs. Karina Wade. The guests didn't know whether to clap or cry. Karina didn't stay to find out. That night, she sat in a luxury suite with Logan, still in her wedding dress, makeup smudged, shoes off. The TV was on, but the sound was muted. Logan poured himself a glass of scotch. Took a sip. Then leaned back on the couch. So, what now? Karina didn't answer. She was staring out the window, at the city lights below. Everything felt unreal. Like a dream she couldn't wake up from. He tried again. You really went through with it. She finally turned to him. You didn't say no. He raised the glass to her. I never turned down a good story. Her voice cracked, just a little. This isn't a story. It's my life. He looked at her for a moment. Then set the glass down. No. Now, it's our life. They sat in silence again. Not lovers. Not even friends. Just two people bound by one chaotic, impossible choice. And somewhere, across the city, Jared and Tosha thought they had won. But they didn't know Karina. And they had no idea what was coming next. Karina didn't sleep that night. She lay on the left side of the bed, still in her wedding dress, makeup streaked, brain fried, staring at the ceiling like it owed her answers. Meanwhile, Logan Wade snored. Yes. The man she married out of pure revenge, the man who ruined her in college and flirted with her enemies in adulthood, had the audacity to sleep peacefully in a hotel robe, sprawled out like he was on a vacation. By morning, reality hit like a slap. She was married to Logan freaking Wade. There was a ring on her finger, gaudy and gold, something Logan pulled from his pocket like a magician's trick. She didn't even know where it came from. Probably something he bought during a drunken Vegas trip. It didn't matter. The damage was done. The headlines had already gone viral. Jilted bride marries billionaire guest in shocking twist. CEO Logan Wade ties the knot in wedding gone wrong scandal. Jared who? Karina Bennett gets her last laugh. Karina groaned as she scrolled. Her face was everywhere. So was Logan's smug expression. Then came the knock. This time, it wasn't emotional. It was their lawyer. Logan yawned, pulled the door open, and let in a man in a sharp grey suit with a stack of papers. Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. Wade, the lawyer said with a tight smile. Let's talk damage control. For the next hour, Karina sat at the dining table, still in yesterday's dress, as the lawyer explained what they were now legally bound to. This marriage is official. You signed the certificate. You had a licensed officiant. Witnesses. It was all public. No one can argue it was a stunt. Karina rubbed her temples. So, what happens now? Logan, looking way too relaxed in his silk robe, replied, "We play the part." The lawyer nodded. Exactly. The press is already building a story around you too. This could actually be beneficial. Karina looked up sharply. To who? To both of you, he said. Logan, you've been labeled a cold, heartless womanizer for years. Karina softens your image. And Karina, well, you just became the woman who took control after a public betrayal. Your brand is soaring. Karina blinked. My brand. The lawyer smiled. There's endorsement deals already reaching out. Talk shows. Makeup lines. Even a book agent. Karina looked at Logan like he'd summoned the devil. This is your fault. He held up his hands. You asked me to marry you, remember? She wanted to scream. Instead, she stood up. I need a shower. And clothes. And my sanity back. As she stormed into the bathroom, Logan called out, "Don't forget your ring, Mrs. Wade." She slammed the door so hard the mirror rattled. Later that day, Karina returned home, not to her cozy apartment, but to Logan's penthouse. Because of course, Mr. Billionaire didn't live anywhere normal. The elevator opened into a sleek, glass-walled suite overlooking the entire city. Everything was black, chrome, or expensive. No color. No warmth. This feels like a villain's lair, Karina muttered. Logan tossed his keys on a marble counter. Welcome home, sweetheart. She ignored him and walked straight to the guest bedroom. But Logan blocked the doorway. That's the guest room. Exactly. You're not a guest, he said with a raised brow. You're my wife. Legally. Publicly. Which means we sleep in the same bed. Karina crossed her arms. You're insane. He leaned in. We're in the middle of a PR firestorm. If anyone finds out we're faking this, it all goes to hell. So unless you want people digging deeper, you play the part. That includes photos. Appearances. And yes, sharing a bed. She stared at him, disgusted. You're enjoying this? Not yet, he smirked. She shoved past him and threw her suitcase on his bed. Touch me while I sleep, and you'll lose a hand. That night, they lay back to back in bed like two angry strangers. Logan didn't speak. Karina didn't breathe. But somewhere between 2 and 3 a.m., she cried. Silent. Painful tears. Not for Logan. Not for the cameras. But for Jared. For 10 years she believed in that man. She planned a life with him. Built dreams with him. And he threw it all away like trash. And Tosha. That betrayal stung deeper. She could have survived losing a man. But losing the one woman who knew all her secrets. Who watched her fall in love. Who helped plan the wedding. That was a wound that bled in places no one could see. The next morning, Logan walked into the kitchen wearing nothing but pajama pants and his usual smug expression. Karina sipped coffee, hair in a bun, hoodie on, already exhausted. So, what's the plan today? He asked casually. She didn't look up. You mean after I figure out how to erase the last 48 hours of my life? He chuckled. We have our first public appearance. Charity gala. Tonight. Everyone important will be there. She nearly choked. You expect me to show up and pretend this is real? He leaned against the counter. This is real. You married me, remember? She shot him a death glare. That was war. Not love. He grinned. Who said anything about love? By 7 p.m., Karina was in a designer dress. Logan's assistant had it delivered along with a full glam squad. They arrived at the gala arm in arm. Flashbulbs exploded. Cameras rolled. Reporters shouted their names. Logan. Karina. Over here. Is it true you were dumped and married the same day? Logan, how long have you two been together? Are you in love? Karina faked the biggest smile of her life. Logan whispered in her ear, don't worry. We'll make them believe it. She wanted to throw her drink in his face. Instead, she kissed his cheek. Just enough for the cameras. Inside, the room buzzed with speculation. Some people whispered. Others congratulated her. But there was one voice she wasn't ready for. Well, you didn't waste time, did you? Karina turned. Her stomach dropped. Jared. Standing there. Arm around Tasha. Both of them dressed like nothing had happened. Jared looked smug. Tasha, ashamed. Karina didn't blink. She tightened her grip on Logan's arm. Logan stepped forward before she could even speak. Hey, Jared, he said smoothly. Nice of you to show up. You must have gotten lost. This event is for people who can afford their own suits. Tasha flinched. Jared laughed awkwardly. Still playing the rich bad boy, huh, Logan? Logan smiled. Still playing the runaway groom. Silence. Karina cleared her throat. We don't do drama in public. So if you'll excuse us, my husband and I have people to meet. And just like that, she walked away, Logan at her side, leaving Jared and Tasha standing in their shame. Later that night, after the lights, the fake smiles, and the forced laughter, Karina stepped out onto the penthouse balcony and let the wind hit her face. Logan joined her, holding 2 glasses of champagne. He offered her one. She took it. You did good tonight, he said quietly. Karina looked up at the stars. I hate you, she said. Logan sipped his drink. You'll hate me even more tomorrow. She sighed. I don't know how long I can keep this up. He looked at her, then really looked at her. For the first time, no smirk. No jokes. You don't have to pretend with me, Karina. I know this hurts. She blinked. Do you? He nodded. Because I've been there. Just not in a talks. They stood in silence for a while. 2 broken people in an unholy union. And yet, something in the air shifted. Not love. Not yet. But a truce. And maybe, just maybe, a beginning. Karina Wade, was beginning to realize something she didn't expect when she signed that marriage certificate. Revenge has a hangover. And it doesn't wear off easily. She woke up to the smell of fresh coffee and Logan whistling in the kitchen, like they were some happy little newlyweds from a Netflix rom-com. She hated it. Morning, Mrs. Wade, he said without turning around. Coffee or tea? Or do you just drink bitterness now? She ignored the jab and poured herself some coffee. Black. Like her mood. It had been 4 days since the spite wedding. 4 days of pretending. 4 days of camera flashes and fake smiles and social media spin. 4 days of being locked in a PR marriage with the most insufferable man alive. And the worst part? The world was loving it. They called her a queen. Said she took her power back. They praised Logan for showing loyalty and stepping up for a woman in pain. No one cared it was fake. No one saw the cracks. But Karina felt them. Every single day. That morning, the press had caught wind of a rumor. A pregnancy rumor. Karina nearly spit out her coffee when she saw the headline. Power couple Karina and Logan expecting first baby. She slammed the phone on the counter. What the hell is this? Logan leaned over and casually scrolled the article. Says you've been glowing lately. I just have good foundation. He chuckled, completely unbothered. We don't have to confirm anything. Let them talk. Karina glared at him. This is getting out of hand. We are not a couple. We are a lie. Logan looked up. And for a moment, he was serious. Do you want out? The question stopped her. Because as much as she hated the arrangement, walking away now would mean Jared and Tosha win. It would mean the public sympathy turns to pity. It would mean the spotlight dims, and all that shame comes crawling back. Karina shook her head slowly. No. Not yet. Then we keep going, Logan said. Simple. Cold. Controlled. Like everything he did. Later that evening, Karina met with her sister, Renee, at a small, quiet cafe uptown. Away from cameras. Away from Logan. Renee was older by 3 years, tougher by 10, and always said what she meant. You really married him? Renee asked, stirring her coffee slowly. Karina nodded. Yep. Because Jared left you. And Tosha. Renee frowned. That's wild. She used to sleep over at our house. Karina nodded again. In my bed. Next to me. Laughing at me. For years. Silence hung between them. Renee leaned forward. Look. I get it. But Logan. You hated him. I still do, Karina said quickly. Then why put yourself through this circus? Karina blinked back the pressure behind her eyes. Because if I don't control the story, it controls me. I'd rather be the woman who moved on fast than the girl who got left crying in a church. Renee nodded, respect in her eyes. Still, be careful. You're playing with a snake. Karina smiled bitterly. I know. But snakes don't bite when they think you're one of them. Back at the penthouse, Logan was on a call when Karina returned. He held up a finger for her to wait, then kept talking. Yes, the apartment in Milan. She'll want it furnished. No, she's not picky about the view, but make sure the kitchen is marble. She cooks when she's hungry. Karina narrowed her eyes. Was he talking about her? He hung up and tossed the phone on the couch. You're getting an apartment in Milan? She asked. He nodded like it was nothing. For Fashion Week. The press already assumed you'd be there. Figured I'd give you options. Karina was stunned. You've known me 4 days as your wife. Logan shrugged. I've known you 10 years as an opponent. I pay attention. There it was again. That moment. That flicker in his voice. Like he saw her more clearly than she ever realized. It was annoying. And confusing. That night, as they prepared for bed, Karina stood in the massive walk-in closet, staring at a rack of designer clothes Logan had bought. All her size. All her style. Are you trying to buy my soul? She asked. He leaned against the doorway. No. Just keeping the illusion alive. She turned toward him. Why are you really doing this, Logan? What do you get from all this? He was quiet. Then he walked closer, voice low. Let's just say I've made a lot of enemies in this city. People waiting for me to mess up. But now, I'm married. Settled. The scandal prince finally tied down by a good woman. That kind of image buys time. Karina folded her arms. So I'm your reputation rehab. He smiled. And you're my fireproof vest. They stared at each other. No words. Just tension. Thick enough to cut. But instead of kissing or yelling, Karina stepped past him and climbed into bed. And again, they slept back to back. Two strangers. Legally bound. Emotionally armored. 3 days later, Karina received an anonymous email. No name. No subject. Just a link. Curious, she clicked. It was a surveillance video. Security footage. Time-stamped from a week before her wedding. In the video, Jared. In a hotel lobby. Meeting someone. Tasha. But not just meeting. They were arguing. Loud. Heated. Desperate. Karina turned up the volume. Jared grabbed Tasha's arm. She yanked it back. He said something and she slapped him. Then, he handed her an envelope. She took it and walked away crying. Karina's blood ran cold. She replayed the video. Again. And again. What was in that envelope? Why were they fighting? And how did someone get this video? She forwarded it to a private investigator within the hour. She needed answers. Because what if Jared didn't just cheat on her? What if he set her up? Logan noticed the change in her that night. You're quiet, he said over dinner. Karina poked at her food. I'm thinking. He leaned in. About what? Truth, she said. Logan raised an eyebrow. Dangerous word in this house. Karina looked at him carefully. You ever been betrayed, Logan? He paused. Long enough for her to notice. Then he said, yeah. Once. And I never let it happen again. She nodded slowly. Same. They had more in common than either of them liked to admit. Later that night, her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You want the truth? Meet me tomorrow. Come alone. Attached was an address. Karina stared at the screen, heart pounding. Who was this? What did they know? And why now? Logan stepped out of the bathroom, toweling his hair. She locked her phone before he saw. He looked at her, suspicious. You okay? Karina smiled. Fine. But she wasn't. Because tomorrow, she might uncover something even worse than a cheating fiancé. And she wouldn't be able to tell anyone. Not even the man she was legally tied to.